Hello everyone, you're all welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to go about the cutting and the stitching of this simple waistcoat with a zipper at the front. So if this is what you're hoping to learn, you are in the right place. So please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also give this video a thumbs up. So let's get straight into the tutorial. So I have these 3 yards of crepe, but I won't be using everything. I'm just going to use out of it because I'm going to use this same crepe as the lining. So about 1.5 yards or 2 yards of fabric is enough for this waistcoat. So I have gone ahead to fold my fabric into 2. So I used my bust measurement divided by 4 to fold my fabric into 2. So we'll be drafting the back pattern first. So now I'm marking my shoulder measurement divided by 2. For me it is 8.5. So now I'm marking the neck width. So I'm going in by 3 inches on the neck area, and then now I'm marking the neck depth, which is 1.5 inches. So now I'm just going to go ahead and use my French curve to draw the back neckline. So where my shoulder measurement stopped, I'm going to come down by 1 inch as you see me doing, and then I'm going to connect my shoulder slope like so. The next thing I'm going to do now is to mark my bust point. From the shoulder, my bust point is 10 inches as you see me doing. So the length of the back of the waistcoat is going to be my waist measurement, which is 16.5 plus 2 inches, which is a total of 18.5, just as I've marked here. So I'm just going to connect all the line and rule across. I've ruled the length of the waistcoat and now I'm ruling the bust point. So the next thing I want to do is from that 1 inch you came down by on the shoulder, I'm marking my armhole depth. My normal armhole depth is 8 inches, but I'm using 7.5 inches instead, so the armhole won't be too wide. So I'm just going to draw a straight line across like so, and that's going to serve as a chest line. So the next thing we want to do is to connect the armhole depth like so, as you can see me doing. So on the chest line, I'm going to mark my bust measurement divided by 4, and then I added 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. So I measured what I have on my armhole depth and marked the middle. So on that middle, I went in by 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to be using my French curve to draw my armhole curve as you see me doing. So now I'll go ahead and mark the dart measurement. So on the bust point I went in by 4 inches, and then on the waist I went in by 4 inches as well. The 4 inches is my bust span. That's my nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 4 inches. So on the waist I went in and out by 1/2 inch on both sides, and then I connected it to the bust point like I'm doing right now. So that is all for the dart measurement. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to impute my body measurement. So my waist divided by 4, I marked it on the waistline, and then the darts, I added 1 inch for the darts, and then I added 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance. So now I'm just going to connect everything with my ruler to form the body measurement. So now I'm cutting it out, and that is all for the drafting of the back pattern. So for the front pattern, I placed my fabric on fold and I placed the back pattern on it, and I added 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So now I'm going to mark the neck measurement for the front pattern. I came down by about 8 inches for the neck, and then I marked it, and then I also marked the neck width to make it easier to connect. So now I'm just going to connect the points together on a straight line because it's going to be a V-neck. So I've connected it together with my ruler like so. So I'm very sorry guys, I'm going to be using pattern paper to show you this part that was not covered by my camera. So on the waistline I measured everything I have and I divided it into 2, and then I'm going to mark the midpoint. So on that midpoint on my fabric I came down by 4 inches, and so I connected from the end of the 4 inches to both sides of the waist, as you see me doing. If you don't understand, just watch what I'm doing carefully and you are going to get it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out like so. And then I open up the front to cut the front neckline. So I also cut open the front zipper allowance area. So now let's make some adjustments. Remember, our sewing allowance is 1.5 inches. So on the waistline, I went in by 1.5 inches, as you see me doing. So I came down to mark the length of the back, which was 18.5, remember. So I just connected that point like so. So I'm just going to connect from that point to the end of that front pattern. This is how it is supposed to be. So like this, it will be equal when we join the front and the back pattern together. So now I'm just going to cut that part out, and this is how it is looking after cutting it out. I've also gone ahead to cut out my lining. I'm using the same fabric to line it. You can use any other lining. I've also gone ahead to cut out the lining piece for the back pattern. So the next thing we want to do now is to open up the back pattern like so. Open up the right side, and then you are going to place your lining on the right side of the fabric. And make sure you arrange it properly, or you can also secure with your pin. So I'm going to stitch that neck area, and I'm also going to stitch the armhole area. I'm going to stitch the side as well, and then the hem of the back pattern. So for the last side, I'm just going to stitch that part a bit and stop there, and then stitch from down and leave that middle open so that I can turn it from that part. So this is how it is looking after stitching it. As you can see, I'm turning it through that place that I left open. So this is it after turning it to the right side. So I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch on that part to close it up, and I'm also going to stitch my darts, and then I'm going to give it a good press. So this is what our back pattern is looking like. I've gone ahead to stitch the dart, as you can see. I have also closed that opening, and I've given it a good press. So for the front, you're going to take one piece of the front and place your lining on the right side. So I'm going to stitch the armhole area. I'm going to stitch the side. I'm also going to stitch it towards the hem and towards the zipper area, and I'm also going to stitch the neckline. I'm going to be turning it from the opening on the shoulder this time around. So this is what our front pattern is looking like after closing all the sides. So I'm just going to turn it to the right side from the opening on the shoulder, as you see me do. So as you can see, I have stitched my darts, and I've gone ahead to give it a very good press, and our waistcoat is coming together already. The next thing we want to do is to take the back pattern and then open the right side like so. So I'm going to place the front pattern right side facing right side on the back pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the shoulder. The first shoulder, I'm going to stitch it. I'm also going to stitch the second shoulder. I'm going to also stitch the side for both sides. So this is what it is looking like after stitching everything. As you can see, it came out neatly. So we'll be making use of this open and close zip. We'll make sure the part that can open is facing the lower part. The part that can remove, that can open, is facing the lower part. So this upper part, the excess, we're going to be cutting it off. So I'm going to go ahead and fix the zipper. So this is what it is looking like after fixing the zipper. As you can see, we can open it. The openable part is at the hem of the top, and then you can also fix it back and zip it up again. So thank you guys for watching to the end. See you guys in my next one.